Hey guys, Marissa at kitchentablestamper.com. I'm so excited to share this cool little project with you. It's a little tote. You can see better from the undecorated side. And it's a perfect size for these little fun size packets. So think anything that comes in these M&Ms and Skittles, and they do little gummy bears seasonally, or the gummy rabbits, all these things that come in the little fun size pouch. So it's a little tote for that. I've got peanut butter M&Ms and peanut M&Ms. I found this M&M Lovers assorted pack at my grocery store, and I thought it was really cool because we've got the peanut and the peanut butters to go with the squirrels, but we've also got the plain ones for our friends who are allergic. So I like that little mixed bag, and you can customize the treat to what your recipient might like or appreciate. So this project is for my color combination challenge on the Craft Social. We've got Inspiration Challenge today, and it's a color combination. I wanted to move this into a fall feel. I think it would be perfect for a birthday, or with something floral. Definitely could be worked into Halloween. Our color combination is Highland Heather, Melon Mambo, and Pumpkin Pie. When you do the color challenge, neutrals are accepted and expected. So I combined it with some early espresso and vanilla, and then the wood grains to hopefully give it a fall feel. What do you guys think about this color combination for fall? Did it work? If you want to play in the color combination challenge, check out the Craft Social group. The link is in the description below. And we're going to make our box here, the little box part of our tote. And we're going to start with 8 7/8 by 4. And we're going to pop it into the Simply Score tool on the 8 7/8 inch side. And we'll score at 1/2, at 4 1/4, 4 3/4, and 8 1/2. And then we'll rotate once to the right. Now we're on the 4-inch side, and we'll score at 1/2 inch. Now there's no need to scramble and write this down. There's a printable project sheet on the blog. That link is also in the description below. And on the project sheet, you'll see full color photos and also all the measurements, plus a picture of the template. I think the template really helps us to know where to cut once we've scored. So I always include a picture of my template. All right, we're gonna work all these score lines with the bone folder, and then we'll trim according to the template and add our designer series paper. All right, that's all of our score lines. Now we have a 1/2 inch on one side and 3/8 of an inch on the other side. So it's going to be really important that you identify that 1/2 inch piece, and you keep that to the left side as we're trimming, because in the bottom right, we're going to remove this rectangle. This is the 3/8 inch tab. So let's go ahead, and we're going to do just a very slight bevel cut that takes off that score line. And we can do a little bit more extreme bevel cut here, and we're going to get rid of that little rectangle. Then we're going to bevel cut this so that it gives us a nice clean corner. This is where we're going to put our tear and tape adhesive. Now we got to liberate these tabs. There's 4 across the bottom: a rectangle, a square, a rectangle, a square. So we're just going to cut out the score line, get rid of that scarred cardstock. It doesn't have to be too extreme though. You don't have sloppy trapezoidal flaps on the bottom of your box. You don't want them to look sloppy on the bottom. So just a little bit to take out some of the bulk. All right, there's our box. Now we need handles for this box, and because I keep my scraps and I keep them by color, I also throw all the rejected punch outs that didn't work for one project or another. I put them in, and so I had these already done. They are early espresso also, just like the base of the box, and I punched them with the everyday tag punch. So those are our handles. My designer series paper for the box is from In Good Taste. Now this is a mega pack of 24 sheets, and it's got tons of different textural patterns. There's different wood grains. We're using several different wood grains. There's tiles and fabric, and just got this real natural neutral color palette. I thought all the different wood grains are really great with Nuts About Squirrels, our stamp set, featured stamp set for this project. Now, I cut the wood grain, and first of all, it's time for new trimmer blades. So my edges are just a tiny bit fuzzy, and this tiny bit fuzzy, and this is a printed designer series paper, so the core is white. Against the early espresso, I don't want to see that white edge, so I'm just going to take a sponge and just drag it along that cut edge. I'm not really doing it as a style thing, so I'm not really inking the pattern. I'm just covering that white edge so it doesn't stand out and draw attention away from our adorable squirrel and our beautiful leaves. So I'm going to do both of my papers for the front and back with just a quick little swipe of early espresso ink on a sponge. Look at that tile, isn't that cool? All right, so we just hid the edge. That's all we did there. Just makes it nice and clean. It's a small detail, and the details make the whole. Now we need some liquid glue, and we're gonna glue our designer series paper right inside with an equal border all the way around the large front and back panels. Okay, there we go. Next up, tear and tape adhesive so we can assemble the box. I'm gonna run a long line of tear and tape right down this 3/8 of an inch wide glue tab. And then I'm gonna run some tear and tape adhesive along the back of this tab right here. This is the front of our box. So we're gonna run the tear and tape along the bottom of this panel. Now that way, our seams all go to the back of the box. Gotta take your pick tool here, and we're gonna start with the side tab. We'll remove, and we're gonna fold, not at the first score line, but at the second score line. Then we're gonna fold at the last score line, and that's the base of our box. And the seam runs right down the back panel. Now we can go from the bottom of the box, tuck in the sides, and then back to front, and then we can remove this one. Then we bring the front bottom panel back. Make sure everything's nice and square right here. This is your chance to make sure you got a good square box. Then flip and burnish with the bone folder from the inside so that the bottom is nice and secure. Now you'll see, here's our seam, here's our seam, this is the back of our box. Isn't that cute? Now our handles, and I have the hardest time judging center. My eyeballs are not on center. So that makes Stampin' Up! Grid paper my best friend. We're gonna use the grid paper, the centering ruler on the grid paper. We're gonna line our tag, and now you can see when 0 is centered, which means our tag is exactly the same. It's about a 1/16 of an inch past the 3/4. Do you see that? On both sides from the 0. Then our tag's in the right place. I'm going to add some liquid glue on the bottom half of the tag. I'm going to bring the box in over the tag. Let's get that exactly where we want it. Then I'm going to center my box. So the box is going to go from 0 to 1 7/8 on both sides, and then up to the line, 1/2 inch from the top. So we've got that, we got it centered. Now it's liquid glue, so it will slide a little bit. Be careful that you don't knock it off center. Then we're gonna take our second tag, put some glue on the bottom half, and then we're going to line up from the other side. We've got perfectly centered on the back, so the front one is going to be perfectly centered also. Now don't squish it off a center here. You just worked so hard to get it nicely centered. Just hold it and let the glue grip for just a minute. All right, now let's give that just a second to dry. While we have that firming up, let me show you another piece that I die cut. We're going to work on our tag next. We're going to stamp the Nuts About You sentiment. This is our tag, and this is also cut from a different wood grain. This is almost like a birch veneer. It's from the In Good Taste. I've got my Nuts About You sentiment from Nuts About Squirrels, and Melon Mambo ink. And it's an untraditional fall color, isn't it? Let's pop our Stampin' Pierce mat underneath, and we're going to be nuts about you. Cute, right? Because it's a printed paper, let's give it just a little bit longer to dry than you would on cardstock. The printed paper, the printing on it makes it a little bit less absorbent. So while we're waiting for that to dry and our glue to firm up, let's stamp. I've got Highland Heather and Melon Mambo scraps here. Melon Mambo ink. Let's grab Highland Heather also. We're gonna stamp some leaves. I've got my gorgeous leaves bundle, and we're going to make some not traditional fall color leaves. I love this. I hope that you're enjoying it and it's helping you to feel creative and think outside the box. So here's our gorgeous leaf, Highland Heather on Highland Heather. We need 2 of those. I'm gonna do these kind of pointy, I don't know, almost oblong kind of leaves. And then we're gonna use our more maple type leaf, Melon Mambo on Melon Mambo. All right, we're gonna die cut those in just a minute, but let's just keep stamping since we've got everything here. Let me switch my ink pads. We're gonna work on our squirrel next. I've got Fairy Vanilla cardstock. This is Early Espresso, Soft Suede, and Cinnamon Cider. Let's start with our squirrel outline. And we're gonna use Phil today. Phil, not to be confused with acorn, is the squirrel with the acorn. Really need to join the craft social, you'll understand. We tend to name our animals. All right, so we've got Phil and Early Espresso. Now we're gonna stamp Phil's fur in Cinnamon Cider. We want a nice strong coverage here. When I've got a really solid image, I like to just rock the stamp on the ink pad. It gives us a good coat of ink without any air bubbles. It doesn't suck back into the pad when you pull straight up, then like cause a vacuum. All right, we're gonna line this guy up. Let's see if we can line up Phil really good today. I think I got him. When I'm lining this guy up, I check the top of the tail, both feet, and this little hand, and then his nose. Those are my landmarks. When I feel like I've got all those landmarks in place, then I stamp. Not too bad. All right, now we gotta fill the acorn. I'm going to use Cinnamon Cider on the acorn. Now here's the little trick. See that little streak in the stamp right there? That's his hand. So you wanna line that up with his hand. I'm gonna stamp off, and then we gotta line that up with his hand, and fill. And then for the top of the acorn, I've got Soft Suede, and we'll just line up and fill. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. I love nuts about squirrels. Let's go ahead, clear away the ink pads, and we're gonna fussy cut Phil. There's no dies for Phil. We should write Stampin' Up a strongly worded email, I think. I think he needed dies. But I love to fussy cut, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. If you wanna do this project, feel free to eliminate one of the layers and stamp him on a bigger circle, okay? So there is always a way around it. You don't have to fussy cut if you don't like to. I love to fussy cut, so I've got an advantage there. All right, when I fussy cut, I'm gonna first cut him out pretty small. You don't want a lot of extra paper around. I've got my scissors supported in my dominant hand, which means my index finger or even my index and middle finger are supporting the bottom blade of the scissor. Your dominant hand open and closes the scissor, while your helper hand, so your non-dominant hand, your helper hand does all the work. Your helper hand steers the paper, while your dominant hand closes the scissors. Sometimes the dominant hand swivels a little bit to cooperate, but that's it. All right, I'm gonna cut this guy out and be right back to die cut our leaves. All right, we've liberated Phil. Now let's get our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine and die cut our leaves. All right, so we've got our leaves that we stamped, but we also need some fun little skeleton leaves. So I've also got some pumpkin pie cardstock and some Early Espresso. Let's see here. I'm going to try to do all of the die cutting in one pass. Let's see what we can do. So these are some of the dies from the Intricate Leaves die set. You can bundle it with a Gorgeous Leaf stamp set and save 10%. I'm going to go ahead and cut some of these little skeleton ones, and of course then my outline dies for the ones that we stamped. So let me set this up and give it a crank. All right, everybody's all set up. There's some of our little skeleton leaves in Pumpkin Pie and in Melon Mambo. And let's give them a crank. All right, there's everybody. Let's get them loose. Don't you love that? I love that. I think the stamp detail is so pretty, especially tone on tone. Here's the little detail leaves. All right, let's liberate all of these from their scraps and get our treat tote assembled. Here's a little trick for you if you're having trouble getting your dies out of the die. I find that the more you use them too, the more they stick. You can take a little low-tech tape. I've got a washi tape here that is left over from an old Valentine's project. You can use painter's tape or the medical paper tape. There's any low-tech tape, but if you just stick to the back of your die, just burnish it down, and then pull. Usually comes right out of the die that way. And then the bonus is if you kind of carefully remove, you can get some of that weeding done for you too. All right, just a little tip, something that makes my life easier. Hope it makes your life easier too. Let's slide our bits to the side, bring in our box. I have a standard 1/4 inch circle punch. This is a standard office one. You can get the Fiskars one that I'm using on Amazon if you don't already have one. Now, I'm gonna do it. I just don't want it to look wonky. I'm not good at center. So I'm gonna bring in my centering ruler again, just really quick. With a marker, and I am going to mark the center of my tag just with a little dot. You put this aside, and then I'm going to punch through both layers of the tag right where that dot is, about 1/4 inch down, and there it is. And it's closer to center than I could have estimated. Maybe some of you are better at seeing center. I think even with the mark, I'm still left of center. All right, let's pop our little fun-sized treat right in the tote, and let's tie it up. Now, I'm using this. You might have noticed. Isn't that cute? I think it looks like chewed cotton, like the squirrels might chew it. I saw this in the Stampin' Up catalog, actually. This is the diamond weave ribbon. It's just really gorgeous cotton ribbon. It's really luxurious. It's a beautiful ribbon just as it is, but sometimes you need a thinner ribbon. So what I did was I cut off a length. This is maybe 15, 16 inches, maybe 18. I think it's gonna be a little bit too long. And then I'm just cutting off the edge of the ribbon, which gives you this kind of rustic ribbon, thin ribbon. So you get twice as much ribbon this way. So for every, 15 to 18 inches, you're going to be able to tie 2 of these little treat boxes, and it gives you a thin ribbon that's in this vanilla color and a totally different look that I think really works with the squirrels. So we're going to go through the tag, front to back, and then through the tote, front to back. And once you're there, you're going to pull a little bit more out the back than to the front. And then here's the trick. You just fold up. Do you see I did not tie this closed? I did not tie a big knot. I'm just going to loop up. I did not twist anything. See, there's no twist, just over. Hold it. I'm going to bring from the back over the top. I'm going to tuck right where my finger is holding that space open. We're going to tuck this one through and pull. All right, now you see you've got a bow that has the ears up, the tails down, no extra bulk in the center, and it's still holding this bag closed perfectly fine, okay? Now I'll just give it a little finesse and bring it a little bit tighter. When you give it finesse, hold the knot, pull the tails. You can adjust the size of the loops, but do you see that? Up, down, no bulk. There's a method to tying. People say they can't tie. You can tie if you learn the method. It's loop, swoop, tuck, and pull. All right, so there's our treat. Isn't that adorable? And because I'm a control freak, I am going to put a dimensional on the back of my tag, put my tag on a cute little angle. Now it's going to stay exactly where I want it. All right. Couple more pieces that I prepared ahead of time. Let me show you. Got pumpkin pie. This is my favorite. If you hang around kitchen tables, Stamper, you already know what this is. This is that medium swoopy square from the Hippo and Friends die set. I love all of these labels, but this is absolutely my favorite. It really layers up nice with a variety of different things. Today, we're gonna layer it with the Label Me Lovely punch. So I punched one of these from Early Espresso. Actually, I found it in the scrap bag, so that's why I'm not punching it for you on video. I just love to use up the things that were extras from another project. But there it is, Early Espresso. And then I've got a 1 3/4 inch circle. I punched this with the retired Stampin' Up! 1 3/4 inch circle punch, but you could probably get away with the 1 7/8 from layering circles if you've got that and you don't have a 1 3/4 inch circle punch. All right, first things first, we're going to go ahead and adhere our Label Me Lovely to our swoopy square, and I'm going to use 2 dimensionals kind of in the center. And there's a reason for that, because we're going to layer our leaves on after we put this to the box. All right, so let's line this up. Aren't these just the coolest shapes to stack? And then multi-purpose liquid glue, we're gonna glue the vanilla circle to the Early Espresso Label Me Lovely. Right? Now you got it. Then this is gonna get glued to the front of our box. But you'll see in our sample, all the leaves go underneath this Early Espresso label. So that's why the dimensionals are just in the middle. Because we've got our bigger leaves off to the left, we're gonna go to the left of center. And then we're gonna just slightly adjust our tag. I want the corner under that label. See, that's why this has got only dimensionals right in the center there, because we're gonna tuck everything underneath. I'm gonna first start with my Mango Melody leaf, and I'm going to add liquid glue down the stem to the bottom of the leaf. It's very possible that it's going to extend just a little bit past the edge of your box, depending on your sentiment, where your sentiment lands and everything. So don't do the very top edge. All right, then same thing with the Highland Heather leaf, and then we'll tuck that one in underneath. And then we're going to make a pretty little bouquet by adding this gorgeous little skeleton leaf. Again, multi-purpose liquid glue stem, and the bottom of the leaf is sufficient. You can pop that right under the brown, but over the other color leaves. That crazy? I don't know. What do you think about the color combination? It is not traditional fall, is it? And I hope that you'll try this Highland Heather Melon Mambo Highland Heather Melon Mambo pumpkin pie combination and share with us on the craft social. All right, then our other little skeleton leaves, we're just adding them all in with a dab of multi-purpose liquid glue, really. All right, now for fill, let's get some dimensionals for fill. I like the mini ones. I have a Nuts About Squirrels Stamp-A-Stack class coming up, so be on the lookout. We're preparing it as we speak, cutting, filming the videos. It'll be a free class on the blog with an optional class packet. So if you're familiar with the kitchen table stamper Stamp-A-Stacks, there's one coming for our little buddy, the Nuts About Squirrels. Now we're gonna add our little nutsy squirrel with dimensionals. And last up is our branch. Now the branch is a little tricky and a little delicate. We wanna kind of audition where we want it, and then decide where we're gonna put our glue. You can use a glue dot here if you want to, just roll it up underneath these branches if you have better control with a dry adhesive. I'm just gonna lift my squirrel a bit and tap down the branch. There it is. The Nuts About You. Isn't that cute? It needs a little sparkle, don't you think? I've got the 2021-2023 in color gems. They are polished pink and fresh freesia, but I think that they work great with this color combination. So this one's got polished pink. You see the beautiful sparkle. This one is going to get the fresh freesia, which I think really just kind of morphs into the Highland Heather just fine. I love Stampin' Up's perfect match, but sometimes when it comes to accessories, you get a little bit of creative license. So we're gonna do our beautiful fresh freesia, couple down this way, and then a couple up this way, and add a little fun sparkle. All right, there it is, you guys. If you've got any questions at all about the project, about the craft social, if there's anything I can do to help you stay crafty, email marisa@kitchentablestamper.com to order Nuts About Squirrels or the Gorgeous Leaves bundle. You can buzz over to marisaalvarez.stampinup.net. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.